Halo was incredibly unique because there wasn't anything like it. This sort of perfect storm of music and art and universe design.
Lock and load your weapons. Let's be ready to...
Welcome aboard, Master Chief. Ready for dust off.
That Microsoft is building the biggest cannon in the world, and they're pointing it right at Sony, and we can be the bullet in that cannon, and we can make a really big impact on the course of the game industry.
Going to see if we can save some soldiers. Roger, Cortana.
I think there were a very small group of people who felt like Halo would be the defining game of the Xbox.
We almost cut multiplayer out of it a few days before we had to ship the build because it wasn't really working that well. We were having arguments about how many people can actually connect a box together. We're like, yeah, maybe in college dorms people will do it, but who's going to carry a TV to their friend's house?
Everybody was pushing to keep multiplayer in, but none of us knew just what it would mean.
Probably wouldn't have made the Covenant guys so colorful, but that was a request from Jason. Shinier, brighter, more color. I'm like, dude, you're nuts, man. This thing's like rainbow, it's horrible.
Halo, it's finished.
No, I think we're just getting started.
Halo 2 is kind of like a 3-act tragedy.
In Halo 2, they really wanted to take even another step up in terms of the depth of the story in the universe. I mean, Joe and Jason and stuff have created this really rich universe, richer than you could get across purely in even the tools that they had at their disposal.
And we had to throw out a lot of stuff that we had wanted to do.
We wrote this graphics engine that was totally unsuited to the Xbox. We had these ideas for levels that just really didn't make sense with the Halo engine or for any kind of shooter engine. We let our ambition lead us into some very, very scary places. Halo 1's multiplayer was done by, 3 or 4 people, tops, in 6 months. Halo 2's multiplayer was a massive investment. That kind of resource crunch really caused a lot of tensions on the single-player side of things, because now all of a sudden we're trying to build multiplayer environments that have to look as good as the single-player part of the game.
The first time he jumps on, the crowd just, goes to this really loud cheer, and I mean, it was just, wow, it would give you chills sitting there.
It's something that you don't really see very often at E3 in the middle of a demo where people are just like, yeah, that's awesome.
I don't say the word awesome. Usually dude doesn't come out of my mouth, but the truth is, the game is awesome, dude.
How the hell are we gonna beat this game?
Hurry it up, let's get it out of here.
They were gonna go back and rework things, and Jason was gonna get more involved, and then they came back and told me it was gonna basically be a year slip.
The devil himself stood up and told us we were never gonna ship it in EU and rammed his pitchfork up our asses.
Halo 2's, not where we want it to be right now.
How do we top what we did before? And even if we would say, wow, we're too tired to top what we did before, the pressure is there, and I think we put it on each other.
Before Halo 2, we could fail in silence and in misery, but no one really knew when we were failing. And then something like Halo 2, where everybody knew that we cut missions at the end, that we lopped off our third act. We failed spectacularly in public as far as the story was concerned.
Yeah, they literally did have to cut off sort of the end of the game.
There's the big knife, and we just chop it sometimes. As much of a death march as Halo 2 was, when we got to the end of it, and there's a bunch of seeds there that are exciting and really fed the rest of the trilogy.
This is Spartan 117.
Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Halo 3 was going to be the end of the trilogy. We knew that we had to do it better than we did Halo 2. So it was going to be a focused, concerted effort throughout to make sure that Halo 3 was the jewel on the crown.
A really powerful moment, I think, to realize that this world of Halo was going to be taken to the next level.
The way that the lighting came together, seeing the skies on the 360 for the first time, sketching out those ideas and watching it step by step come to fruition, and then finally seeing it on TV for the first time. I was just going through that process was amazing.
And so when we moved to Halo 3, when we moved to the new Xbox, we could do close-ups, we could do solid facial animation.
Where is she, Chief? Where's Cortana?
Cortana!
Cortana plays a huge role in the fiction of this game, and we didn't want people to forget about her. We actually see her fighting for her existence.
People really do believe we're a community of storytellers. That's extremely exciting that we've made that evolution.
I miss you.
Wake me when you need me.
Halo 3 to me seemed to be like the next step after Halo 2 from the point of view is when we added Forge, file share, save films, and co-op.
We added save films in Halo 3, and the gamers out there could pause and stop and really study the explosions and rotate the camera around there and really look at the work.
That was a real-time, direct connection to our community.
It was probably the moment at Halo 3 launch where I realized, wow, this is as big as anything can get.
Back when Bungie was founded, you know, Jason and Alex and their friends, the culture of Bungie was pretty simple. There's a bunch of college kids who wanted to drink beer and eat pizza and like do amazing cool stuff in their basements.
And I think the transition was good for Bungie, the journey through Microsoft, the being able to integrate on the Xbox. The deal was essentially, we make a couple more Halo games, we leave Halo with Microsoft, and we can split amicably. So, I mean, ultimately the price of our freedom was to leave our baby behind, to move from being Halo developers to Halo fans.
Having to leave Halo behind because we left Microsoft, it's kind of a high price, but that's the price of the next thing that you're going to give birth to.
That's going to be a seminal moment for the studio.
I think the fundamental difference between Bungie and 343 is the way that they were formed. And they're very, very different. Bungie formed very naturally, very organically as a small studio, building really small experiences, and grew into those big shoes, and grew into Halo, and the trilogy that they built, and then ODST and Reach, and they grew up with each other. And so it's a very definitely felt like a family. Obviously,
Harold had promised Microsoft, we had 2 more Halo games, and Reach was only one of them. What can we do in 1 year with the engine we've already built, not a whole lot of engineers, just a handful of artists? What can we do in a year to get a game out the door? Harold looked at us and said, make it happen.
Work here, bros. The reason why I came to 343.
Okay, let me think about that.
I know the answer to this.
Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't come here for Halo.
We're the only studio in the world trying to do something quite as crazy as what we're trying to do, in that we've brought all these people from around the world who've never worked together before, put them all in one giant room and give them one of the world's biggest gaming franchises and tell them to go make it. And I guess I kind of heard about that and thought, that's crazy, I want to be part of it.
Obviously the difference between that and how 343 was formed, 343 was brought in to work on an existing franchise, an existing universe with an existing fan base on existing hardware. But oddly enough, it is as artificial as that sounds, the reality was that in some ways it was very, very natural and logical, because every single person who came to work here because they wanted to work on Halo first and foremost. And we couldn't even say that at Bungie, because people had grown up playing and building different experiences, things like Myth and Pathways into Darkness and so on. When you're going to assemble a couple of hundred people to build a game, And they all love that game, and that's the main reason that they're coming there. You get this instant shared passion and the ability to grow a family really quickly. And I think that something we couldn't have done, I don't think, if we were building a new franchise from scratch.
Master Chief is human. He's not a machine. He's not a set of armor with a big weapon. He's a human with resilience and courage.
You know, and I was so looking forward to this moment because for Master Chief, you know, the stoic soldier, the man of few words, all that. But there was this progression, you know, in terms of his emotional side, even through the first 3 games. But this was going to be the great leap. Ready to get back to work?
I thought you'd never ask.
How do we make sure the sights and the sounds and the things that they're feeling as a player inhabiting that suit really comes through more clearly? And, you know, technology has allowed us to do that with much higher fidelity than back in the CE days.
This is the low-res asset of Chief. We were afforded a little bit more budget since he's our hero.
From the art process, storytelling is just about engaging the player.
What do you think of a tank? You think square, you think like metal, there's some like wear and tear on the edges. So those things we want to grab, put them on the Chief so it communicates that.
The fingers are missing here on these. They have armor caps that come on, but he doesn't have armor caps on his trigger finger or thumb finger so that he could have more tactile sense when he's shooting and loading his weaponry.
She is the most human character that we have in the story. Like, she's struggling with her own mortality.
AIs deteriorate after 7, Chief.
That's something that everybody struggles with. That's the most, you know, human it gets.
If we can just get back to Earth and find Halsey, she can fix this.
Everyone has to figure out what it means to die.
She's strong, she's convicted. She herself is going through a really difficult time in understanding the things that are happening to her.
Not only is this the first time they've ever sat together on a panel, this is the first time they've ever been in the same room or even met.
So seeing them meet and seeing them have that chemistry in real life and seeing how they acted together in scenes, just felt like we just missed this opportunity for all these years to actually get them together and get something even more memorable and more exciting out of them.
You do know you don't have to wait until the last minute just to impress me, right?
In many ways, Halo 4 is the first act.
We want a player to be able to ask themselves what it is to be a hero. Is the sacrifice worth it?
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.